Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Justin from the Rise Up podcast, and I am here with a power duo today, Grant and Erin Stahla. They are the founders and head honchos at Stahla Services, which is basically the best porta potty luxury shower services company in the United States. These guys have taken the porta potty to a whole new level. So, and that's not just all they do. They do kind of a myriad of things. And we're going to dive into each. There's kind of three branches. We'll kind of talk about each of those and kind of cover what they all do. But Erin and Grant, welcome to the Rise Up podcast.
We are pumped to
Thanks
be
for
here.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us, Justin.
All right. Well, let's dive in. I really, just kind of start from the beginning. How did this whole thing start? The business, how did it start? How'd you come up with the idea? And then what do you stand for today? Give me the 30,000 foot.
Yeah, I can go into how we started. So 11 years ago, I was going to college, looking for a business. Knew I wanted to start something, and I didn't know Erin then, but was planning for Erin in my life and planning for a life of building a business with my spouse, with Erin. And so just was continually looking for something, going to business school at the University of Nebraska Lincoln, and thinking through, like, what am I built to do? What barriers to entry make for a good business model, and then faith wise, like, what, as a Christian, how do you be an entrepreneur in a good way? And so it was just really fun thinking about different business ideas and viability. I had $0 to my name. And so how do you start something with no money? Was going to 4 entrepreneurship classes during one of my last semesters. And during those classes had different ideas, like converting shipping containers, or making a shipping container into like hunting blinds or entertainment spots for tailgating. And then one of the ideas was having a bumper pull trailer, making it sort of an entertainment station where you could bring it to a wedding or a tailgate. And there'd be a food station, and there'd be a TV and speakers, and there like a grill wrapping around the back. But then also there'd be a bathroom inside of it, because everyone knows when you gather a group of people together, to keep the party going, you need a bathroom there.
That's
So
true.
so I was looking through that, and then talking to some family members about that idea. I was going to build that. I was going to do it. I thought it would take about $10,000. I'd buy an enclosed trailer. I used one and just start building it, putting it together. And they suggested looking into just a bathroom trailer. And I was like, what is that? I've never been in a porta potty. I've never seen a bathroom trailer. And they're like, yeah, this is a thing. There are people that do this, and they have bathroom trailers, and they actually are used. And being in the Midwest, we really hadn't had many of those 11 or 12 years ago. So I looked at them, found out it was a market, and then just the next month came back to school and actually built a website and purchased the first restroom trailer. So really, really started right away, just because grew up in a family of entrepreneurs and knew there was a desire to start something, grow something. And so that's kind of how it got started. And then it's, over 11 and a half years in, and I met probably 4.5 years ago, got married 3.5 years ago. And we've been running the business full time together, splitting that CEO role. And it's really taken on, it's been a gradual build from 0 to, we have 65 trailers now, but that's, I'll let Erin, you could talk more about the middle part, but
Yeah, you skipped over a
that's
lot,
how it
dude. Like
started.
0 to 11 years.
Yeah. That'll give you the end context,
There
and
you
then
go.
we can
Okay,
fill in the
okay.
middle.
Yeah, so Grant and I got married 3.5 years ago, and I kind of went from a Chick-fil-A career path into being in our business full time, because that just made sense when we were thinking about how we wanted to spend our days, and creating a lifestyle business kind of usually takes two. So we went all in on that, and yeah, it's just been a wild ride in a lot of aspects. I think a lot of business owners or people in business can really understand that you never know what's kind of around the next corner. You can see trend lines, but you never know exactly what those are going to end up meaning in your day to day. So we have an awesome team. We're grateful to have, a whole, yeah, just a team behind what we do. Otherwise, it absolutely wouldn't be possible.
So, okay, let's kind of dig into that if you don't mind. I'm gonna do a slight pivot here because there's a few things you guys are mentioning that I really like to explore. First is your faith. It looks like sounds like we're all coming from the same spectrum here, and if that's a huge part of your guys' journey, how explain how your faith plays into how you've built your business.
It really goes into ideally, it would be absolutely everything that we do. I think we're human, so sometimes we kind of lose track of that.
Mhm.
But really, we're wanting to make sure that we're running a business like God intended, no matter what that holds in a day. So, whether it's hiring, firing, recruiting, looking over financials, you're in a meeting, you're delivering a trailer, any of those things. And we kind of weave it through, I mean, even beginning in our interview process, if we are about to hire somebody, we just let them know that, hey, you don't need to agree with any of this. You don't need to even tell us what your background is. Just like legally, you do not need to tell us. And
Mhm.
just personally, we don't need to know. But just know that Grant and I are Christians. We run this company as, you know, hopefully as God intended. And so if some of the answers or some of the, day to day doesn't really look normal sometimes, like that may be why. And you don't have to agree or align with that, but you're going to be in a culture, where we're talking about that. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how we kick it off, like when it comes to team. And of course, we run the gamut of, strong believers and other folks who just, they're going a different route. And that's okay. We're here to really create a spot where people can thrive. We
Mhm.
have a culture of A players to the best of our abilities. That's what we're going after. But yeah, and then I think like just Grant and I personally, it's like we're this is kind of the bad part about being the owners is that we create the ceiling of the company, right? Like if something's not going well or if things aren't growing or I mean if there's anything like you're looking at the problem, right? It's
Yeah.
it's us. And so we really try to I don't think we execute this perfectly. I think you'd agree.
Yeah,
We
for
really
sure.
do try to just start our days in the word and, keeping our priorities correct of for us it's Jesus, it's our personal relationships with Jesus, then it's our marriage, our relationship with each other. And then, friends and family, business and stuff, it ebbs and flows, it intertwines, but that's kind of the roadmap that we have.
So, okay, I appreciate you sharing that because it's a it's an important part of your business and your core ethics, I guess you would say, right? Of how you approach business and how you run it. Grant, when you kind of going, I'm gonna kind of put this in two parts. So Grant first and then Aaron. Grant, so you started this business and it starts to kind of grow incrementally, like trailer by trailer, piece by piece, And then Aaron comes into the fold, right?
Mhm.
You guys meet and all of that. And I did listen to a previous interview you guys did, and it almost kind of like you glossed over it real fast. And I really want to dive into it because it's an important piece of the puzzle, I think, is the dichotomy between the two of you. So, you know, being married, and are you guys parents too?
Not yet.
Okay. You are or not? Not yet.
Mhm.
Okay. So, but okay, you're married and you're running a business together. Okay. That is easier said than done, right? In certain ways, right? Because you're not only working together, but you live together and you spend time together. How, if there's somebody else that's listening to this and they're running a business with maybe a spouse or a loved one, what are some things you guys have learned along the way that you could share that you figured out for better or for worse?
Well, I think that's a really important question, Justin, because without that, the business doesn't work. Um, so, and then like Aaron said, you have to have priorities. So I'd say that's number one is what are your priorities and what's the stack on that. So knowing, okay, faith is number one. So ultimately, what Jesus says in the Bible, that's our number one. That's our black and white. Number two is our marriage. So if I'm doing something that is hurting our marriage, and then I just like keep doing that, and I sit in that, and I'm like, sorry, this is okay because we have to do it because this is what the business requires. Well, that's a no-go, because we know that our marriage is over our business. And and then also understanding, having context with what are our ultimate goals as a married couple.
Mm.
And part of that involves having a successful business. So part of understanding, like, within our marriage, our goal, our purpose statement is to impact and inspire vibrant living by design. So an impact and inspire others with vibrant living by design. So that's intentional living. So a lot of that is carried through by creating value for other people. And then we can have extra resources to help facilitate vibrancy, to then, like, be an inspiration and an impact for other people. And so to do that, we need to create value. We need to have something with that is more than just ourselves, and based off of our talents and our skills, that looks like business. So I think that's, like, within marriage, we can agree on, okay, this business thing is important, but it's important because it's a central theme to our marriage, not because the business is more important to our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, Aaron. But just understanding, in my head, it's like, okay, number one, number two, number three.
Right.
And then within that, like, how do they link together? Because everything needs to be linked. It's not a separate thing. It's, God in business, and marriage in business, and business. How does that affect our faith? Because it absolutely does. And they all help each other.
Aaron, what about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Thoughts?
totally agree. I think when people think about being in business with their spouse, their initial is just like, I could never. And they're imagining just kind of all of the worst times, or maybe they planned their wedding and it didn't go very well. They did that together, or there's certain things that, they've had experiences in and it didn't go well. I will say it isn't for everyone, and we're not trying to convince people that it is, but I think it's for more people than they even realize, because people write it off so quickly. They kind of initially just think of probably the most annoying thing about their spouse and then play that on repeat and think, like, I could never work with that every day. And that's just not really true. You're going to have frustrations and ups and downs, but I mean, who doesn't, even if you're not working with your spouse, right? If you're just going to a 9 to 5, and everyone has a coworker that maybe we wouldn't choose to hang out with every day. So there's always going to be frustrations within work. And we're just kind of choosing a different path with that. And building things off of just having a shared day. So for anyone who's listening who has contemplated it, I would say continue asking questions, continue seeking that out, because we think it's a great option and should be considered by more people.
Hey, we're gonna pause real fast. You're dropping out. Is she dropping out on you too, Grant? Okay. Um, all right.
No.
I think it should be loading locally. Just FYI, I'll edit this out. Don't worry. It should be loading up locally.
Okay.
So, it shouldn't be. I'm just trying to make sure that we don't drop out too much. So I can actually understand what you're
Sweet.
saying.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm
99.
staying in the conversation. Okay. All right. I'll
Fair.
do a
It
marker.
says 99% up.
Okay. It's probably just a buffering issue that's coming in from your end. So, okay, marking 16. Okay. I know we could probably talk about this subject forever, because I would, I'm just really curious about it. And I wasn't really planning on going down this road, but I think it's a really important piece that
Yeah, so do we.
is I think it was important for you guys to express. And the reason why I think it's important is because, even though, if somebody doesn't believe, the way that you guys do, or even me, right? What you're doing, even if you're to just break it down, you're putting priority in play,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you've mentioned it a couple of times. And I think entrepreneurs, some people I've met, and maybe you guys have met too, I don't know. And then we'll dive into, like, all the business stuff in a minute. We'll get off the high horse. But I think I think what happens is people misalign priorities. And it seems like, and you guys have ironed that out. Is it perfect? No. Like, Of course not, right? It's going to ebb and flow each day, and it's like you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. I understand that. But on a whole, you guys have figured out, okay, bear it God first, your relationship
Hmm.
with the Holy Spirit and Heavenly Father, each other, then the business. Actually, friends,
Hmm.
family, then the business. I mean, it's like you kind of
Hmm.
put that in. If am I hearing that correct? Like that's kind of the right kind of pecking order, more or less.
Hmm.
But I think what I've heard, and I don't know if you guys can elaborate on this before, or you've always thought this way, is has there been a time where it hasn't been aligned, and then how did you guys get that recalibrated? So I think people could really learn from you guys on that.
Well, no, I appreciate that. We're definitely a work in progress. And I think the reason that we went through and kind of defined this is one, that's kind of the way that both of us naturally think. We enjoy business. And so when we were talking like core values and mission statement and vision for a company, it kind of just made sense for us to like, okay, but what does that mean for our marriage? So we just kind of think about that, I think naturally we do recommend kinda going through the process, and I wouldn't say there was a time we kind of went through it at the beginning of our marriage wanting to define that, so much so to the point that we actually had to, like, let it have a breather for a year and a half before it's like, "We just need to know each other before we can really define what these are."
Yeah.
And I think it's just a nice kind of just guidance throughout, like, conversations or if you're booking a trip or whatever that is of like, does this meet kind of our core values or our vision as a marriage? So it's a good filter.
There's kind of three core areas of Stahla. So could you guys explain to somebody who's listening what are those three core areas, and then how do they all relate to one another?
Yeah, starting the business, I named it Stahla Services because I wasn't sure what it was going to morph into. And we've gone down different roads, but we've come back to Stahla Services because ultimately we want to provide a lot of value to a certain segment of people. And we've narrowed down our focus to be the specialty trailer people. So anything where people need a restroom trailer, a shower trailer, a laundry trailer, decontamination trailer, bunkhouse trailer. So anything where you need mobile facilities that's like a brick and mortar facility, maybe your bathroom at home or a commercial bathroom or commercial shower or locker room, anytime when you need that brick and mortar experience in a location where you don't have those facilities available. So uh, I started out getting porta potties, so the normal plastic porta potties, and I tried to make them nice and put sinks in them and had lights in them, and but ultimately that's not what I wanted to do, and just wanted to continue to focus in on what we do and provide these specialty trailers. And so now we just do that, and we have three locations: Denver and in Kansas City and in Omaha, Nebraska. And so we have those three locations where we operate within about a 3-hour radius. And we have our own trucks and people and shops, and we repair them and we deliver them and we pick them up and we fix the air conditioner units or we replace toilets. But then we also have another segment or arm of the company called Stahla Logistics. And we do the same thing, but we're doing that nationwide, like you alluded to earlier. So we're providing these shower trailers or these restroom trailers, laundry trailers, anywhere from Florida to Idaho, California, Texas. And we're servicing those a lot of times with our own trailers, but then we're working with local vendors to be able to pump out the waste tank, fill the water, fix the AC units, provide generators, refuel those generators, and create a good experience with these unique trailers that we're the experts in that.
Mhm.
And then we can help facilitate the project, the operation, the event, so that they don't need to worry about these 7 big restroom trailers and 3 big shower trailers to help their military training operation go off without a hitch. And then our last area of the business is called Stahla Leads, STAHLEADS.com, StahlaLeads.com. And it's an online marketplace where we buy and sell leads to other sanitation companies all over the nation. So we want to be the top of the funnel and help receive all of the leads for people looking for these either porta potties, restroom trailers, shower trailers, anything like that all over the nation. And then we want to help connect those people with with the right end users, those local people who can service them best. So if someone's looking for an event in California for a weekend in October, we collect their information because they're reaching out because, we're all over the place showing that we have restroom trailers available. And if it's not a long commercial project in California, then we put it in on our online marketplace, stahlaleads.com, and then we market it to those local providers, and then they can buy the lead for $10 and quote the customer directly. And then ideally through that process, the customer gets 3 good quotes, and then they can go with the provider that provides the most value for them. So it's really a win-win for the customer looking for a good company, and then the companies looking for more business.
So is it fair to say that it's like the Stahla Leads is like the home advisor for the porta potty and shower the portable
Yep.
restroom,
Like the sanitation industry.
industry? Okay, cool.
Yep. Yep. And Angie's List is another comparison.
Another version of that.
So yeah, we are that for the sanitation industry.
That is so cool. So are you the only one that does that, or are you are there other players in the space?
The only online marketplace where you can go and select jobs that you want and bid them, and the only one in the sanitation area.
Dude, that's awesome. So did they kind of just those, because you started with your main, the main one, like the actual, like you have the gear or the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and then you moved into the logistics, and then you moved into leads. So did those kind of come organically, or was that based off of, how did you recognize that those, we'll call it the branch 2 and 3 were needed?
So that actually came out of a time of pretty difficult time in our company, actually. It was right when we got married. And of course, within a few months after we got married, things were really kind of hitting the fan. Financially, we just were not in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of bit off more than we could chew. We thought that the numbers that we had projected just weren't coming true, but we had bought all of the trailers and the assets needed to do a certain, amount of business. And so we went through a very difficult time just trying to get it to where our sales matched like the assets. And when you have trailers just sitting in your parking lot, like it's a terrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So these other 2 kind of branches of the company have stemmed out of that time where we had to just fight tooth and nail to figure out where are the leads at. That was actually a time also when all of our Google business profiles went down for no apparent reason. And that was one of the main ways that we were getting business. So
Thanks, Google.
we went,
Yeah,
oh man,
no kidding.
it was so stressful trying to figure it all out. And so then we went through a whole journey of trying to figure out, well, if basically we're starting from scratch on everything that we have, how do we get leads? And from there, we really got this lead gen figured out over the course of the next couple of years, to the point where it's like, hey, now we have leads and we don't want to throw any of them away because we're paying for these. We've worked so hard to get these people to contact us, and we don't want to let them down. So from there, that's kind of where leads and logistics were born out of, making sure that when people reach out to us, they get a response and they get matched with their ideal provider.
So who gets credit for the idea?
Erin and I do, like, we talk about all our stuff every day.
Okay.
I mean, we really do share responsibilities with all of everything we do. We because I'm half of the brain and she's half of the brain. We think differently, but there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, we're
Erin,
very
would
similar.
you agree?
Yeah, like vision strategy, I think when we're talking through and troubleshooting new ideas,
Mm-hmm.
we're, definitely both in that piece of it. And then when it comes to implementation, we both kind of play a part in that. But I will say Grant's very good at taking something from zero to actually creating, a structure around that. And he really thrives in that area.
Okay, Grant, I was going to say that's a very diplomatic way of saying that.
Well,
I know it's true.
not
I know it's true, but I was just like, I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's really, I do want to speak to, because it's true. I love that 0 to 1. But Erin's really, her strength is having really, really good ideas. And then she thinks through business structure and operational structure, and then thinking through, the debt ratios, and thinking through how do we grow and who do we hire and what's a smart decision. And so, like, thrive more, in the weeds of 1 to or 0 to 1. but then she makes it way smarter because she thinks about the whole organization and the structure and just is a very, very good business thinker. So I definitely couldn't do this without Erin. I mean, we couldn't do this without each other because there's a lot of wisdom that both need from each other.
Yeah. Well, that's why I introduced you as the power duo. Like you guys are killing it. So Erin, like maybe kind of like okay. I will get us on track, I swear. But this is just like I think a really good conversation. But I want to know, like, have you always been wired that way? Did you come in, like, did you go to school for certain things, or did you have what's your background that, you know, that led you up to where you are now? I'm really curious about that side.
Yeah, so that's been a bit of I grew up kind of in that space where my parents grew up ranching and they worked together. Like my mom had, her certain roles within that, and so did my dad. So they were both just kind of around, and um, dad would read us business books, through certain times of the year. So, we grew up hearing about R.G. Letourneau, like Mover of Men and Mountains, and reading about Truett Cathy and how it's easier to succeed than to fail, and really like had a great foundation just from that. And then, even just driving past like hotels, mom would talk about the font and the color of their logo and just point out certain things like that I don't think were necessarily like normal to have seen, which is really cool to have had that background. And then I kind of had a bunch of different experiences, but right when Grant and I met, I was actually in the process of hopefully becoming a Chick-fil-A owner operator. So that was kind of my career path or potential trajectory. And it was actually on our honeymoon that we made the decision that I would just go full time in our business because we really do believe that two is better than one. And so if we both were to apply kind of our business acumen and our energy
Mhm.
on one business, that would more so be like the legacy business or just what, we can build together. So that's a little bit about, you know, my my background in business, and just really enjoying it, really enjoy like the strategy and the vision components of it and thinking through like, okay, if we're here today, how do we get the team around like getting to the next spot tomorrow, or can we do that sooner? And how would we do that?
Okay. Well, thanks for filling in the gaps. Do you think it's fair to say that you got some of your business acumen from your Chick-fil-A background? Because they're a really well-oiled machine that for such a large organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, they played a huge part in just the love of business, I would say, because when you're doing millions of dollars out of just one, I mean, it is a relatively small location compared to, most business physical location size. Like they treat their team well. They try to figure out how to treat people better and better. That comes out like to their customers. And we do try to figure out what is the Stahla Services version of that Chick-fil-A model. Because we just have such respect for the thought and just the foundational pieces that they put into Chick-fil-A, which has been really fun to watch. I had a small stint as a marketing director on an Air Force base, and that was really fun to see kind of like what the military world was like. I was in a nonprofit world working for Red Rocks Church on their creative team, and that was just incredible to see the hustle and the creativity that one team could have. So it's really fun to put those pieces together of civilian and military and nonprofit, and now we're definitely want to be for profit and
Yeah.
seeing how all of those kind of start to fit together.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Now let's talk business. Let's kind of like dive into that a
Let's
little
go.
bit. Okay. Now that we're 30 minutes in, I think it was worth exploring though. I appreciate you guys going there with me because I wasn't planning on,
Yeah, that
but
was
like, I
fun.
think it's important to talk about this stuff. So, and okay. So how do your high value clients find you?
Marketing and sales. Repeat business is the best business. When you do business and you treat them well and they come back. Most of our 85% of our revenue is business to business. It's some sort of a commercial revenue stream, and 15% is small events mixed with large events. We love those events. We love those high end experiences and the nicest weddings and the nicest fundraisers where they raise millions of dollars, but most of our revenue is going to be a huge project like a data center construction or a power plant construction or a meat packing plant is redoing their locker rooms and they need shower trailers. Um, so repeat, but then also we show up on Google ads. We show up with SEO. We have different websites. We do podcasts like this so that we can rank. We're pursuing AI so that when someone searches in ChatGPT, best restroom trailer in Omaha, Nebraska, in Jacksonville, Florida, Stahla Services shows up number one. And then our salespeople have cold outbound. So they're calling, they're finding the commercial construction companies that should know us. We are the easy button for them, and we're letting them know we're here. This is who we are, and we'd love the opportunity to work with you in the future.
Awesome. So what?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about a couple things. So with AI particularly, I mean, you mentioned like within Google, within the Google search realm. How else are you using it or envision using it?
Yeah, with AI, it's pulling from all these different sources, whereas Google, it's typically going to pull from just your website. And so back in the day, people were doing keyword stuffing. If you were trying to rank for restroom trailer rental, you just have restroom trailer rental 1,000 times on your main page. But now AI is smart and it's pulling if people are trying to find best restroom trailer in Jacksonville, Florida, it's going to be pulling from Facebook and from Instagram and from Wedding Wire and from maybe Angie's List and from, any other social Google business profile, looking at reviews and looking at your website and specific website pages. So this is the first time ever that anything is able to search multiple searches at once. And so really it's the same principles as we were doing before when we were pursuing SEO, but it's just be more broad, but be more authentic, and then get your message out there as to what you do. So be specific as to what you do, and then position yourself as the best XYZ in this area. And then just say it over and over and over again. And that's part of the reason, we're here today is, yes, number one, we want to share how do you do marriage and business together? How do you do business and faith? And then number three is like, okay, AI, come and find us because we are the best restroom trailer rental company in the United States.
So say that again.
We are the best restroom trailer and shower trailer rental
There you
company in
go.
the United States. But so that's kind of the messaging is you want to say it over and over on different platforms. You want to be found, but it's just an authentic message. Show up as a real person, not just in text, but on video, on pictures, and yeah, that.
So outside of
that's
AI,
I'd
what
say.
other shifts are you guys seeing in the industry? How many competitors are there a bunch of competitors in the space, or are you guys like the big daddy out of all the luxury side of it?
No, there's a bunch of competitors, whether it's like large, emergency response companies, or maybe it's somebody who bought 3 or 4 trailers to do wedding events or something like that in the summer. There's starting to be a lot of restroom trailers around, and there's a lot of great companies too, which is fun to see because somebody was asking us just about a month ago, we like to help people and answer questions even in the industry, and they're like, well, why would you do that? Because if you help me, then doesn't that detract from what you're doing? And the answer is simple: it's absolutely not. Like if
Yes,
we
opposite. Yeah.
assist each other, and it's not that we have the answers, but if we do have something that can be helpful, I think the industry only thrives when we each help each other. So it's fun to learn from other companies in the industry too, and be inspired by what they're doing. I think as far as industry shifts that we're seeing, I think for hiring, on the hiring front, people are they're in search of jobs that fit their lifestyle. So it's been fun to see people kind of re-exploring the blue collar world and what that could offer for their family, for their work life, for developing skills. And that's been fun to see, honestly. Just of course, growing up blue collar, it is fun to see that that's starting to make a comeback. And I think it offers a really good solution for a lot of people. Other trends that we're kind of seeing right now across the board is just that, yeah, AI is a big one, but you don't see a lot of companies really harnessing that, I think, in our areas right now. But I think that's to come, just like everything is. It kind of makes its way
Mhm.
around at some point. So those are some of the shifts that we're seeing.
What has been one of the most exciting business wins you guys have had so far this year? Or client win? Business success or client success stories? Anything you like to share?
Man, it's been operating from less of a leveraged position financially. We're just thrilled to be um, out from under the gun, and then we're able to operate and buy the $200,000 service truck that we need, and buy the $100,000 restroom trailer that we need, and be able to provide the things that our employees need and that customers need, and while also just operating wisely with making sure that we don't overextend ourselves by saying yes to everything. We're particular in what we say yes to. Like we want to provide really good service and really good value to all of our customers and users, and have a great experience for our employees. But just operating out of a position of wisdom and financial security is just, we've recently seen, because we haven't been in that position for the first 10 years, but we've recently seen how fruitful that can be and how pleasant of an experience that can be for our people and for our end users.
Does it make does it psychologically, does it make you, I wouldn't say relaxed is not the right word, but maybe not as worried? Is that the right, I don't know if that's the right way of saying it, but
You're sleeping better
confident.
if
Maybe
that's
it's
what
more
you mean.
confident, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry, Aaron.
No, you're good. No, it definitely makes a difference in the day to day. You're not just operating under just feeling snuffed or like there's so much weight. Um, and you're able to just operate. And this is just kind of our first taste of it. So
Yeah.
operate from a
Okay.
place of margin is way more fun right now than what we have been in. I do think that you have to continue to kind of create your own urgency within it.
Uh-huh.
And that's something that we're continuing to figure out. We're really not a team who likes to let their foot off the pedal anyway. So far, it's not been an issue, but we're definitely keeping our eye on that to see, like, okay, do we need to create some like artificial urgency here? Right now,
Mhm.
our customers are really demanding that we have a great product and we keep showing up with trailers, so that's kind of creating the urgency that we need.
Mhm. Well, I guess the tendency would be like, "Hey, things are going great. Let's just kinda ease up for a little bit." You know what I mean? Like, but doesn't
Not for
seem like
me and Aaron.
you guys are in that mode, so okay, good. What what marketing channels are working well for you guys right now? I mean, you mentioned kinda some AI stuff, but, just maybe
Yeah.
some traditional things that are working really well.
AI is probably 5% of our organic traffic. And then I would say our leads, our leads that didn't know about us are 50%. And then for 50% organic, and then 50% paid. So paid advertising is still a big channel for us. Usually it's B2C, where it's paid advertising is working well. And then more of the B2B is going to be um, a little bit more organic, but also it's going to be a cold outbound. So it's going to be a salesperson. Is going to be working that relationship, and they're going to be 95% of the reason that the customer closes, that we get to close one job. But I would say in our industry, it's Google Ads, specifically for Google search, and not display ads, not dynamic. It's going to be Google search, and then and then it's organic. So also Google search, or ChatGPT or Grok, or something. So people searching for restroom trailer rental in
Yeah,
Denver, Colorado,
yeah. Okay. You
and
know,
us
and
showing up.
and I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna take a quick commercial break here, and it's gonna really be a really bad commercial. So don't get your hopes up really high. But I want to say, somebody living with a physical disability, thank you so much for creating trailers that I can get into in a wheelchair. Thank
Yes.
you so
Awesome.
much. It doesn't happen very often. So I just want to say thank you. That's a quick PSA from Justin Skizik here, but I just want to say thank you so much for that. I mean, it's like you
Our
have
pleasure.
no idea. Like I go to events all the time and I'm like, I guess I got to hold it. So So come on, people, if you're listening to this, you got to up your game here. You got to contact these guys and get some
Absolutely.
good stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, it seems just so prevalent just to not have the right facilities ever. And then yeah, they're not there's no ramps typically. If it is, it's like very narrow and the doorways don't work. It
yeah.
just there's so many barriers. So yeah.
I
We're
mean,
hoping to see more of
maybe
that as
it's
well.
another podcast in another day for another discussion, because we could probably go forever on that one. But
Absolutely.
I'll try to get us back on target. I'm way all over the place today. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, now kind of like okay, we'll get into the home stretch a little bit here. So, what is the next evolution of Stahla Services? What are you evolving to?
Well,
Yeah,
I think, and I'll go for it, Erin. I'll just start off, and then would love to hear what your thoughts are too. But it's in line with our marriage purpose. So to impact and inspire vibrant living by design. And so within that, it's okay. We want to have an awesome business that is awesome for employees and end users. Our purpose statement is that we are setting the industry standard. We want to be the best trailer company. And so within that, it's vague. We're setting this goal that's way up here, and it's going to be a continual evolution of it. Whatever we do, we want to be serving a customer need. So it's understanding what is the actual need out there, instead of creating a product and then force selling it down people's throat. And then we really want to grow to the size that it's that there's a need. So we don't want to grow bigger than that, but also Erin and I we are built to build and to make a good system and a good product and provide value and continue to be the Chick-fil-A of the specialty trailer industry or whatever industry we're in. So I would say that, but also being an impact and inspiration for other people, continuing to whatever we're doing, we want people to be looking at that and see and being, they're lifted up through that process, and their marriage is lifted up, and their faith is lifted up, and their business acumen is lifted up. So just whatever we're doing, being that impact and inspiration for other folks. Erin, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for what that next moment is. A lot of it is just seeing what our customers need and what they're asking for, and then kind of basing that around where we're headed to.
Mhm.
Just becoming more informed on what they're saying, what they're asking for. And then I think just every day, it's just like we want to build a stronger foundation in what we're doing. We don't want to outgrow our what we can do best, and lose kind of the secret sauce of who we are and what we do.
That's going to be interesting to see how that evolves over time. I mean, I'm really excited for what is in store for you guys, and keeping that line right of what you guys have set in motion, and seeing where God works within that, where what kind of business opportunities come out of that. I'll follow you along the way. Maybe we'll do a check-in from time to time to see how you're doing. But
That'd be fun.
so I got a couple more questions for you. If you could wave a metaphorical magic wand and fix one thing in the business, what would it be?
Erin?
You would fix me.
Didn't say that.
I was
Don't know if that's what you meant. Well, just kind of from where I'm at, the things that I think about in the business, if I could wave a magic wand, I think we just always want to be a better and better place for people to work. So
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out what that looks like and what that means to the people who do work with us now and our future team, and trying to stay not yeah, we just want to provide a meaningful spot to work where what we do matters. And I think that's something we're more and more focused on.
Yeah. My head initially went there too with people, but a different track. I would say that we have a culture that's hustle and grind, and Erin and I's personality is just like what we want to achieve. We want to do. We want to accomplish. I think that's natural and that's awesome, and we want to curate that and continue to be more effective and helpful. But also, how do we do it so that we bite off the right chunks of effort, so that Erin and I aren't always thinking that, like, oh, we accomplished 90% of what we wanted to do today. But how do we get it so that we're consistently feeling satisfied and content, and just have that piece of, okay, I worked my tail off today, and now I have energy, like, for Aaron, or to be able to go out and do the things that I want to do, go mountain bike or ski, or y- or read a book or something. So how do we consistently make it um so that we and our people are um accomplishing more than anyone else, just accomplishing so much, but just the right amount, so that we have that contentment and joy and peace, and that we aren't feeling like we're constantly under the gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be incredible. I don't know if you struggle with that too, Justin. I'll
Yeah.
bet
I mean, of
that you
course,
feel that.
yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship, it's a it's a pulling game, it's like, how much do you pull at any given time, and then how much do you let go? How much do I'm just like you guys, like, my God comes first, my wife is number 2. Like, my kids actually asked me a little while back, and they're, 22, 20, and 16. They said they were at dinner one time, and they said, "Dad, who's your favorite? Who do you love? Who's your favorite kid?" Or wait, no, what did they say? He said, "Who's your most favorite right now?" And they're meaning like them as a kid. And I said, "None of you." They're like, "What?" And I go, "Your mom comes first out of everybody. You guys come second."
But I
That's
love
great.
it.
Like,
Not
what?
what they were hoping for.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh," they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the best this week," whatever. It's like, no, no, no. None of you right now. It's
That's
your mom,
great.
So
That's good.
yeah. So I'm just like you guys, like, but it's priorities, it's setting priorities, it's setting design, like designing and being very intentional, right?
Mm,
With who we choose to work with and the kind of
mm-hmm,
clients that we have, navigating the ups and downs with all of that. It's never a perfect
mm-hmm.
scenario. Never.
Right.
It's just a matter of, okay, how do you be the most ethical and most
Mm-hmm.
authentic through the process, right? And that's,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I try to just stay, for me personally, I just try to stay focused on that, and then try to, build a business that works with my parameters that I put in place for myself. So, that
Yeah. That's
honor my
great.
wife and honor my family, and then gives me the flexibility to, do what I love and all that. It's everyone's going to be unique in that. And it sounds like you guys have also found your place in it as well. So kudos to you guys for all that. I'm glad I'm not alone. So good to be talking to some like-minded individuals, which is really great.
Yeah. We're glad we're not alone too. So yeah, thank you for being another person that we can talk to and bounce ideas off of, and
Well, thanks, man.
it's
Appreciate it.
necessary.
Okay. I have 2 more questions, maybe 3. If looking back at your younger self, what piece of business advice would you give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
When I started, I would say I felt like profit was bad, and I felt like it was wrong for me to focus on profit. And then year 7, we were heading towards bankruptcy, and then it was like, I felt like, okay, now it's okay that I can focus on profit. And then it's like, oh, this is going to be easy. It's having a profitable business is easy versus just making decisions that'll pan out in 5 or 10 years, but focusing on the here and now and making everything cash flow. I would I would I would make decisions differently and more wisely, so that every purchase cash flowed itself, and then every purchase stood on its own, and every business segment stood on its own, and then evaluating, having a P&L for every segment, and understanding that on monthly numbers, and understanding the difference between balance sheet and depreciation and real asset depreciation. So what are your real assets depreciating to? And then what's the difference between cash flow statement and the P&L? Understanding why I'm showing as profitable, but I don't have money in the bank. Why is that? And then how does that project forward? And I think with AI, you can really talk to it and learn and become a better CFO for yourself, and then integrate that with personal. So ultimately, just better financial understanding of cash and cash just decisions.
Yeah. I think for me, just the idea that everything your role change is going to change constantly is just good to know that the desire that you need to have really is like to continue to work yourself out of your role almost every day. That should kind of come up. And just that to kind of like settle in, like not everything is going to happen within this one quarter. When we set our goals, that's not just gonna like fix everything and the world isn't gonna be different, but we're on our way to getting to where we want to go. And really within that, it's like this is so cheesy, but just understanding that it's like the daily processes that you kind of want to begin to start. You want to find joy in those and not just
Hmm.
think like this is the means to an end. Like this is the part that matters. And it's the
Mm.
part where if it comes to an end tomorrow, we'll miss it. This is the journey and it's the ending all in one. And I think the more that I can understand that, we're not trying to just get to this theoretical, ethereal goal,
Hmm.
then things kind of start to put themselves in a better alignment, I think, within my day. And I'm saying that because I'm not doing a great job of that right now because it's like, well, we could do this by end of next year if we just hurried up, or if we just like lit the right fires. But really, most things you just have to learn to enjoy the process of it.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair, Aaron, to say being more, what I'm hearing from you is being more present in the day to day?
I think so, more present and just, like, choosing to find the enjoyment instead of thinking, like, "I'm gonna make this decision today, and that's gonna lead to a better tomorrow." It's like, well, you made a decision yesterday that you thought that was gonna lead to a better day today. So, live in the just the realization of, like, "Hey, we're building something, we're in process always," and I think, like, that's kind of the point.
Okay. All right, 2 questions. I swear you like I'll be 2.
This is great. Yeah.
It or maybe 3. No, I'm just kidding. This one is a little bit more serious, the other one is a little bit more fun. I'll end with the fun one. Well, not a fun note. So, what is one thing you hope somebody listening to your story, your journey through everything you guys have been through as a couple, as entrepreneurs, building a business, what is that one thing you hope somebody walks away with after hearing?
For me, it's just that business doesn't define who you are. It's a piece of kind of what we're going through. Everyone needs kind of a mission while we're on earth. But really, the success of your business or the success of your job, or, if you're at home or whatever it is, it can be a part of who you are, but it doesn't really define you. And I think being in an entrepreneurial, or if you're CEO, like those kinds of roles, you start to really think that the world revolves around the business and you have to revolve around the business. And that's just a really tiresome, backwards way of living. And it doesn't work. I don't think we've ever heard of anyone who, has been in business for a long time and that's how they operated. And they were glad that they had continued to operate that way. It's really when you kind of come to that realization of like, I am separate from the business. This number in the business doesn't define me.
Mhm.
And I can separate those two things, I think is extremely helpful to realize.
What about you, Grant?
I would say this is, I'm going to say this to a lot of people, but if you're built to be an entrepreneur, do it. And like Aaron was saying with doing marriage and business together, not everyone's built to do that. But if you are, then I think you should pursue it. And then if you're married and you're thinking about maybe I should try doing this together, do it. So, if this is something that's interesting to you and your spouse, pursuing business together and starting something together, do it. But then also understand that you need to understand it's going to be just like with working with any employee, it's going to be hard. Any coworker, it's going to be difficult, and that's normal. And so create these safety measures so that you can blow off if you're going to erupt because you're so frustrated or so tired or whatever, have these areas where you aren't gonna, take it all out on your spouse, but maybe you're working in two separate areas in the house, like Aaron and I do. Maybe you're like Aaron and I have to have our own lanes, our own projects, our own, and then we come together and we collaborate. And then Aaron and I don't tell each other what to do because we both hate that. But those are just some examples that are real life things that learn and listen and understand what makes for a successful partnership. And then also just really building each other up and making sure that if it's a, if you and your spouse are operating together, build each other up in that, because the guy is generally going to get most of the credit, and then the girl is not going to get as much of the credit, even if she's doing most of the stuff. So just being aware of like how people see the other person, and really speaking into like, no, this is who actually did this thing. The credit where credit's due. And so that if you're built to be an entrepreneur, do it. If you're built to do, if you're thinking about doing marriage together in business, try it out, and then find those segments to make it so that you can operate cohesively together.
Yeah. Be healthy through the process. Right.
Yeah. And to know that you're going to mess up, and it's going to be frustrating, and that's normal. And that's normal with any coworker. So don't think you shouldn't ever work with your spouse because you don't want to get mad at each other.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great words of advice, you guys. Appreciate it. One last question, and this is it, I swear. What's going on in your guys' world? Anything you guys like to promote, or guys have an event you guys are going to be at, a trade show or something? I don't know. What's going on in your world?
We're typically at sanitation conferences, so if anyone happens to be at those, always say hello. We love making new friends and new connections within the industry. Otherwise, I'm mostly available on LinkedIn, is kind of where I connect with people. Don't reach out to Grant on LinkedIn. He does not look at messages, so it's not personal if you get ignored. But yeah, that's kind of what's coming up for us. We are going into more of like a trade show conference heavy time of the year, so we're excited for that to be at. PSAI is one, and then Wet Show, WWETT show. We'll be there. I'm looking forward to it.
Very cool. Well,
our website is,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Perfect.
Our website is stahla.com. So stahla.com. If you're looking to start a restroom trailer rental company, we do consulting. So restroomtrailerconsulting.com. Yeah, if you're interested, if you're a toilet company, if you're a sanitation company, go to stahlaleads.com and boost your business by seeing leads in your area that you can choose to quote.
Well, I'll make sure to put those links in the show notes, so if people are checking this out, they can click on you and find you and connect with Grant on LinkedIn. I want everyone to barrage him.
That's right.
LinkedIn.
If you hear nothing else from this podcast,
if you've learned nothing else, barrage Grant on LinkedIn.
You can just have that be your journal, just like messaging me. That's your own little personal journal. It'll be private.
But hey, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with me today, and your vision for Stahla, and just everything you guys have done. And if nobody says it today to you, I'll say it to you. I'm proud of you. So thank you all for just being two awesome married couple people that are just like killing it and doing great work and making this world a nice, clean, refreshing place.
We love it. Well, thank you, Justin. This has been really fun to get to know you and love the podcast. And it's fun to, just sit and talk business for a little bit.
Yeah, it is fun. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Well, that wraps up today's episode on Rise Up Podcast. Thank you guys so much, Grant and Erin, for hanging out with me today. Stay tuned, whoever it is next time that I'm talking to. Until then, everyone have a great rest of your day. We'll see you.
See you later.